Hey everybody, it's Afternoona snack time where we give you a short, tasty tidbit to snack on. And today's topic is the K-drama miniseries Color Rush.
Hey everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
So I'm really glad that we are all in different states because I have not changed out of my running clothes today, and I am a stinky podcast host. So I did a 5K that turned into longer than a 5K, like somewhere in the realm of probably a 6K because we got lost, and I did it with my 10-year-old daughter. And it was like a virtual touchless race where like you were meant to like show up and just like run the course, I guess. And it sounded really good in theory, except I found the starting line in a bush because it had like fallen over where it was like, this is where you start. And then it was gorgeous. It was like along the coast, but then like I've done the race in the past and I thought we went a different way and it wasn't really signed as well as it could have been. So I was like, no, we go this way. And then I guess my daughter stopped to tie her shoe and then I lost her and then I got upset, like scared. And then I found her, but then I got pissed because I ran a lot more trying to find her and was scared. So she was like, you said hell to me. Cause I guess I found her. I was like, what the hell? I'm like, you're lucky that's all mommy said. And then, yeah, anyway, it was a bit of a disaster. But at the end of the day, you know what? Those were miles I had not gotten before today. They definitely were not fast, but they were fun. And we saw sea otters.
And you did your first 5K, right? Like since you started training for it? Like
yeah,
recently?
I've done them in the past, but then I've been like a sedentary elephant seal through COVID. So I did do a 5K a couple of weeks ago too. I was actually meant to, in full disclosure, do a 10K, but then I was like, who am I kidding? Like I had to call the race people and be like, yeah, that's not where I'm at right now. I got to downgrade my status. But you know what? Whatevs, it's fine.
I'm proud of you.
We were powered by
congratulations.
K-pop. Yes, thank you.
Powered by K-pop.
We were listening to Beautiful. Like,
yay!
I'm beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my daughter was like, don't sing, because we're like on like a trail with other people. And I was like, come on, we got to keep it fun. She was like, no, this is not
I love
fun.
That song. I love when the deeper guy
yes!
and he's like boom 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 boom. And I'm
you know how I like those deep voices.
I know. His name is Wyatt, by the way. Yes, I know.
Ooh, I did not know.
I doubt he wasn't born as Wyatt, but that's his like stage name.
And you know what? Wyatt's like a name that like isn't in as many romance novels as you would think for being like a pretty hot.
It's a good name.
Yeah, it's a good name.
It's a trendy name right now. I know. I have a couple friends who name their kids Wyatt.
I actually used the name in a book for a dead brother.
Did you really?
So not quite a romance hero, but he was in a romance novel.
I was just thinking note to self because I'm always like, trying to come up with like a good, keep a backlog of good names. And Wyatt, don't forget about the Wyatts.
So let's move on to Color Rush instead of dead brothers and books. Because we all really enjoyed this K-drama miniseries.
And it was, okay, I'm going to tie it to books really quickly, that it was kind of like a novella, right? Like I feel like compared to like, if I was going to make that analogy, it felt very much like a novella.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a novella, you can't flush out everything. So usually a novella kind of focuses on one thing, so obviously this miniseries did really heavily focus on the relationship between the two boys. So I can give a brief summary of Color Rush.
Good luck. Please you do it because it's not easy to like summarize it.
It is a gay romance because it's between two high school boys, but the whole premise is very interesting. And the premise was one of the things that drew me to it the most. In this world, there is a minority of people who are considered monos. What that means is they can only see in grayscale. If they somehow meet their probe, as it's called, which it's almost like a fated mate type relationship. If they meet their probe, because there's sort of like one probe for every mono, then they'll be able to see color. Like, so if the probe is with them, if they look into their probe's face, then the world will come into color. But they set it up very quickly in the beginning that it's not always a good thing to meet your probe because there is sort of an obsessive quality to it. Some of the monos, when they meet their probes, they almost go a little crazy because they become obsessed with their probe and they become obsessed with seeing the world in color and not having it go back to grayscale. They mentions that some monos can kill their probes and eat them. That's literally
it's not like they kind of go crazy. They can literally go batshit cannibalistic crazy.
Right. And eat them. And so the boy who's a mono, he's in school, his mom was a mono and his mom is missing. Anyway, he says he never wants to meet his probe because he doesn't want to be like that. But one thing that he really wants is to be able to see this picture of his mother. Again, his mother is missing. He lives with his aunt, and he knows that the picture's in color. He knows that his mother's headband is yellow and her lips are red and her shoes are brown, but he cannot see it. And that's kind of one of his lifelong goals, is to see it. So he goes to a new school one day and he meets another kid, and turns out when the kid lowers his mask and they look at each other in the eyes, he gets what's called a color rush. In the show, it's very pretty. His eyes kind of almost get kaleidoscopy and the world comes into color. And so it's a story about how it's a little scary for him because he's a teenager, and kind of the relationship of these two boys.
I love the idea of a sort of novella type K-drama. And like you said, the fact that they aren't able to get a lot of the story out there, I like that, because then you just jump right in, right? You just jump right into the main action of the story, which is literally, on his first day at this new school, he meets his probe and, oh crap, what am I going to do? Because the color rush literally knocks him out. Like, he faints. He can't handle it. It gives him a terrible headache. And yeah, I love that it jumps right in.
And I did leave a note that I did want to mention just really quickly, that so when he faints, he ends up in the nurse's office. And I think one of the most believable, and I saw this actually, I'm not even like coming up with this, I was watching it having the same thought though, as like when on Viki, I'd left the comments going for some reason, was too lazy to turn it off. And somebody had like written in the comments in Viki, like, the fact that this school nurse just doesn't give a flying like fudgesicle about these kids coming into the office is the most relatable part of this K-drama. And it was like, fact, they were in that nurse's office all the time.
And they were like treating each other's wounds because the nurse
isn't there, or she just big, just go back there and like, whatevs, it's fine. And then like at one point, I like that she walked in to do an inspection and she just like opened the one kid's eyes really big and was like, yep, you're fine, and like walks back out. So yeah, I don't know. She was like definitely like hanging out in like the break room somewhere, not super worried. And the kids were like fixing each other's boo-boos. But one thing I did want to talk about that I was curious is that I saw, like, I've seen a couple of like criticisms about the show where people kind of called it out for having kind of like glamorizing like more of like an obsessive component to the relationship. And for me, it didn't hit me in that way. Like, I think there was that component, but it didn't hit me that way because they were younger. Like, they both had like equal, I think, like power in the show because they were both like high school boys. It wasn't like one was older or anything like that. And then when you find out that the probes situation is that they have face blindness. So I do love that, because I think is this like my third K-drama with face blindness? Like, it's a pandemic happening in K-drama. And so anyway, the probe has face blindness, but can only see the mono's face. So he's very obsessed with the mono. And then the mono's obsessed, obviously, with the probe because the probe gives him entry into the world of color. So I felt like it balanced out. And I'm just curious of your thoughts of like the obsessive criticisms that we've seen about the show and like what you thought about it.
It didn't bother me at all, because I feel like that's a very teen thing in general. Like, when you have your first crush or your first love when you're a teen, it is all consuming. So it didn't bother me because they were both as equally obsessed with the other. So I didn't feel like there was any danger to it. I didn't feel like it was over the top. It just kind of read as teen romance to me.
Yeah, I agree. It read as teen romance, and nothing about it felt like icky, or I feel like they were almost obsessed in a very like innocent way. Like, it also wasn't, I think it would have been different too if it was like super sexual and it has nothing to do with whether they were both boys or both girls, or a boy and a girl, or boy and non-binary. It doesn't matter. I just meant like, it's not like they were like
consummating their relationship and it was turning into that. Yeah.
It wasn't about that. I felt like they were obsessed in a way that still felt sort of pure and innocent. The probe just wanted to be around the mono, and he wanted to teach him colors. And I was like, it's so like, how can you think that that's like obsessive in a dark way? Like, he just wanted to hang out with him and teach him colors. Like, it was so cute. I liked it because as Leah said, it felt equal. Like, it didn't feel like one had power over the other. They were both kind of figuring each other out. And yeah, it felt like very like young love teenager way. I do think this could have been way darker if you would have had adults, and even if you would have had like a super alpha male with like a meeker female, or even reverse. I think it could have been much darker, but I feel like the use of teen boys or just teenagers in general was a good choice, I think, for the premise, and made it not seem dark, in my opinion.
Another question I have is, and I don't mean to just keep dropping the F-bombs today, so I'm going to try not to. I'd written some notes that I wanted to talk about, and I kept dropping it. So how the F does the probe know like 100 shades of brown and blue. Like I was sitting there and he's like tan, whiskey brown, caramel, toffee, bronzed. And I was like, what the like, and then I was like, oh, that's good. And then I was like, kept going. And I was like, is he like Benjamin Moore? Like, what are we doing?
Benjamin Moore. I have to be honest, I was kind of obsessed. I watched the clip again because I had watched it a little bit ago. So when I knew we were going to talk about it for the snack, I kind of watched like a few clips on YouTube. And I have to admit, I love listening to him with the color wheel, like reading off, because he's like purple blue, like with his like Korean, you know, I actually like could have listened to that guy read off colors like for an hour. Like it was like, I don't know, just the way his like voice was. Well, I will say too, the Probe, the actor who plays the Probe is a former idol. So like it was kind of fitting too, because he's extremely pretty, extremely good looking for, you know, like a 20-year-old boy. So it was like believable, but yeah, listening to him rattle off colors was pretty cool.
Yeah, I felt like it could have been like one of those like nighttime meditation things where you just sit there and they're like ochre, ember.
He does say that he memorized them for
which was
for the mono, but even still, like overnight, he memorizes this. And I do want to throw out there, because I did write it down so we can mention him. The actor who played the Probe was Ho Hyun Jun, and the actor who played the mono is Hong Tae Wee. So just want to put their names out there because they were fantastic. or you know, Benjamin Moore.
Yeah.
So I've got just like a couple of questions because, okay, so at the end of the day, like when I finished this, in some ways I was like, look, it's kind of a 5 out of 5 for me just because like of what it was. Like, I mean, like I went in with like no expectations and was like, this is such a weird little show. And I was like, really, I just enjoyed it so much. But like, yeah, there were like some minor things that even in a novella length, like they could have explained a little more. And so I have some thoughts because like, we've heard that they might be doing a second season. I'm not sure if that's confirmed or not, because I felt like we got like no closure with what happened to the mom. And I kind of think that's important. Like she's missing, and they spend enough time talking about the fact she's missing. He's living with his aunt who like can't stop searching for her. Why is she missing?
Yeah, I need
like,
a season 2. Exactly.
We're like DM, whatever. And I'm like, well, but what about mom?
Never gets resolved. I know.
No. It's literally like, it's like a slice of life where she's still missing. And it's like, okay, I guess so. But I agree. I thought that too. Because like there was a whole thing where he wanted to be able to see the color of the headband she wore when she went missing. That was like a really big, because she wore it, right? She wore it like when she went missing, and he wanted to be able to see it. He could then, because I mean, obviously he brought the Probe over and they looked at his mom's picture and everything. But yeah, I'm like,
but that was it.
But Leah, let's talk about.
Thank you. I know where you're going.
Okay, let's talk about Grandpa Kid, because he was your favorite.
Grandpa Kid was okay. I mean, I loved the mono and Probe. They were so cute, and I just had like all the feels, especially like their like back hug in the rain. But Grandpa Kid. Grandpa Kid just, what the hell was Grandpa Kid? Okay, so let me just try to set up what Grandpa Kid was. There's like, the mono starts the school, like goes in the first day. It's an all boys school. He's come in. We've got Idol Boy, who's going to be the Probe love interest in the back, always with a stuffed lobster, which fine. Okay, that was cute. Then there's like a very pretty like class president. And then class president's bestie is this like tall kid who honestly to me looked a lot like intern Amugi from Tale of the Nine-Tailed. And anyone
wish you just are always thinking of intern Amugi.
Yeah, so I'm still hung up on intern Amugi. I felt like they could have been cousins. They felt related. And anyway, there was like this throwaway comment like out of the gate of like, well, what does Grandpa have to say about that? And I was like, oh, that's kind of like weird, you know, going along. And then like soon I started to realize like there's literally apparently an old man living in this child. Like there's a grandfather just in him, like a spirit. And grandpa spirit is just like, and like, it's not even really like a thing. Like, cause I went back to like Amy and Megan were like, what the hell is this like Grandpa Kid? And they're like, it's not really a part of the show. And I'm like, but then that's even crazier. Like just randomly there's like a grandfather, and like to the point that like the kid shows up once with like baked goods. Like, well, Grandpa thought everyone might get a little bit hungry. So like, here's some snacks.
Grandpa's just like the sage wisdom.
It's just part of the show. It's like there's never explained.
Yeah. And so for me, like the same as I stan intern Amugi from Tale of the Nine-Tailed so hard, I was like, are we getting a spin-off on Grandpa Kid? Because I cannot, I mean, like I'm not ready to say goodbye to Grandpa Kid at all. I would rather say goodbye to the missing mother and just be like, look, life happens and there's questions, but I need more Grandpa Kid. So,
Season 2 is all Grandpa Kid. Yeah. That's what we hope. Yeah.
And I never thought I would want a Grandpa Kid story, but now that I'm in it, I like need to know more about Grandpa Kid.
You don't know until Grandpa Kid shows up that you always wanted Grandpa Kid in your
life.
I
want Grandpa Kid to be my best friend. I'm like, Grandpa, impart some like sage wisdom, dropping it through like this like 15-year-old kid in a school uniform.
So I do want to mention, I was like really happy that we got like a school where like people weren't getting beat up. Like, can we talk about how it was like a nice school setting where the class president was nice and grandpa kid was nice and no one was getting like slapped or milk poured on them or something?
And there were teachers. They actually had educators. Okay, the school nurse, but I mean, again, relatable. Like the school nurse.
I just want to say it was really refreshing to see a school scene in a Korean drama where like people were nice to each other.
Zero bullying. It was great.
Bullying.
And then, Amy, I know that you wanted to touch on one of your faves that happened in K-drama, so this is your time to take the floor.
Yeah, I've noticed it twice now, and I didn't say anything about it when we were watching Healer because I was just like, oh, okay, that's a thing. But then in Color Rush, and I'm the only one of the three of us who noticed this, is that in the Mono's apartment, in their living room, they have a Union Jack area rug. And as soon as I saw that, I went back to Healer, where they have in the office of the news station where the heroine works, they have a Union Jack like mini fridge. So I guess Union Jack is just, you know, common decor. I don't know. I haven't seen it in any other dramas since, but I can't get over the Union Jack and why is it there?
I think stay on the case, and maybe by that year end 2021 like wrap up, we can see how many Union Jacks did we spy.
I'll keep investigating. But yeah, so 2 Union Jacks so far.
And if you're listening, email us, you know, at afternoonaddelightpodcast@gmail.com and let us know another drama that has a Union Jack. We'll put it on Amy's watch list. And then, yeah, I think the last thing that I want to touch on before we move on to our fun K-drama plotting game is, okay, so eventually the Mono does give in to like some of their darker impulses, and that they like kind of workshop the idea of like kidnapping the probe and what that would be like. And it was probably like the cutest kidnapping plot scene I've ever seen in my life. Like he goes to the hardware store and he's like, so I got the zip ties and some rope and I guess this wrench and hammer. I'm like, are you gonna like what? And just like it felt very like innocent. Like I guess I'm gonna be doing some kidnapping. And then like he gives it to the guy behind the counter at the hardware store, who's all like knowing, like, yeah, you're gonna be like doing something like
you're gonna be tying up some probes.
Yeah, like the look he gives him. I don't know. Did that jump out to anyone else?
I think he Googled kidnapping kit and then went out and bought the stuff. It was like so weird.
Yeah, like I don't think he had any idea how he was going to use some of the stuff.
And
like,
then
he was just like, I guess you need a hammer.
Yeah.
Like at some point, maybe I have to clobber someone in the head. I don't know, but I guess you need a hammer.
And the wrench got me even more. I'm like, what are you going to do with the wrench? Are you going to like take out like, well, actually, I'm not even sure what you do with the wrench. Megan, you're the one doing house jobs right now. Like, is a wrench to take out a screw? Like, what do you do with it? Or no, it's to like tighten a pipe, right?
Bolt. It's like to tighten or loosen a bolt. But like, where are you finding bolts? Like, that's not.
I guess you're just looking to beat someone. And then like, if you're eating the probe, the other question I had with like that they never got into is like, then does the colors live in the Mono, or is the Mono like, oh shit, like now I'm like eating my probe and like that's it for me?
I know they don't touch on that. Okay. I do think but when he's like practicing tying the rope like on his wrists, and I think those scenes were supposed to be super like dark to us, but I was like, oh my god, he's like learning how to tie knots. Like it just,
I know. I was like, look at you getting into the BDSM. It's going to be so fun for you in a couple more years. Oh,
like Mono had such like a baby face, so it was just kind of a little hard to like take him seriously as like being like any nasty. You know what I mean? He was just an innocent. He was just an innocent little Mono who wanted to see his mom's pictures. But I thought the relationship with the probe ended up being very sweet. I thought that was kind of a cool twist that he had face blindness and that they like kind of needed each other. Because I was at the beginning like, why is the probe so like, is he just trying to be a do-gooder and wants to like teach colors? Like, what's the deal? And I remember like that was odd to me. And then when they explained, oh, I face blindness and you're the only face I could see, I was like, oh, well now it makes sense. That's kind of a cool plotting choice, and I really liked it.
It was fun, and it was nice to see that he was the pursuer in the whole relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it ended very sweetly. And they both, other than the way that they felt about each other emotionally, they gave each other something that enriched their lives more, right? Yeah, like the Mono could see color and the probe could see basically his mate's face, and that was really sweet.
There's consensus among us on the pod that we think folks should check out Color Rush on Viki.
Oh, absolutely. It was a very sweet story, and it's like a perfect little like snack.
Yeah,
like
and you could probably watch it in a night, or definitely in 2.
I watched it in a night because I'm me.
Yeah,
I did. I watched it in one sitting.
Yeah.
So we introduced this segment last week. So we're doing a Build Your Own K-Drama game, kind of. So last week, Amy and Leah gave me descriptions of hero and heroine, the setting, the tropes, and I had to come up with basically a short blurb of a K-drama. So they do not know what I've come up with yet. And so I'm just going to recap real quick what they told me. So the hero was a telepathic con artist. The heroine was a wealthy heiress who is also kind of like a Robin Hood. Setting was Busan. The tropes were forced proximity and enemy to lovers. The antagonist is a 100-year-old evil sorcerer. And details is hero has a corgi and heroine has a pet falcon. So I just want to remind everyone that I write alien romance. So I'm used to writing some pretty weird shit, okay? So this was up my alley and I'm pretty excited about it. So I do not have a title, which maybe we can talk about that, but I'm going to read the blurb. I got really excited. I'm just going to say I wrote 5 paragraphs. I hope you listen. I hope you like it. So, all right, you guys ready?
Go for it.
Excited. You listening? Okay. Kang Ji-hun has made a deal with a sorcerer in exchange for the telepathic ability needed for him to find his first love, whom he met at an orphanage as a child. He must do the sorcerer's bidding, which comes in various forms of cons. His current mission is to play intern at HJ Foods, which owns the largest chain of fried chicken restaurants in Korea. He is to secure employee records kept by the chairwoman. Han Woo is not a fan of the new intern. He's snarky, terrible at his job, and is too good looking that he's distracting all the staff. One night, after hours, on the way back to her office to retrieve her pet falcon's favorite toy, she boards the elevator with Kang Ji-hun. Except they never make it to her office because as they ride to the 33rd floor, the elevator gets stuck. Kang Ji-hun needs the records from her office, and he'd been hoping to sneak in and out quickly, not end up trapped in an elevator with her. But as the time ticks on while they wait for rescue, he finds she's not the snobby and mean chairwoman he previously thought. When she falls asleep on his shoulder, he decides to make physical contact, which is what he needs to read her mind. Except he finds that she's the only one he cannot reach telepathically. He searches through her purse and uses her fingerprint to read her phone, where he finds she's not the cold, money-hungry woman he thought she was. She's actually been swindling funds to send to orphanages around the country. In her wallet, he finds a faded photo of her as a child, and he's in the photo too. It was taken at the orphanage, and she's his first love. When Ji-hun tells the evil sorcerer he can't finish the job and he's done working for him now that he's found his first love, the sorcerer decides to look into Woo's past. She's also who he has been looking for. He spends every night in hell drowning over and over again, and the only way to break the curse is to kill his last living heir. His last heir is none other than Woo. One night, Lua's driving home and her brakes won't work. Her car drives off a bridge and she plunges into an icy river. Her hawk circles overhead, unable to help. Ji-hun, driving on his badass motorcycle, sees her hawk in the air and bubbles in the water. He and his corgi dive into the water. His corgi gnaws. His corgi gnaws through her seatbelt so Ji-hun can get her to safety on the shore. Ji-hun and his beloved pet corgi must protect Woo from her distant relative, all while keeping his identity a secret, because if he tells her the truth, he has to admit he led the sorcerer into her life. He's also worried that she will try to desperately connect with her only living relative, even if it leads to her death.
Okay, first of all, applause. Amazing. But yes. I love, though, and we're keeping this in, I love that the falcon changed to a hawk mid-blurb.
I didn't too. I don't even know.
That's amazing. Oh, God. Whatever.
I know.
A bird of prey, okay?
It's amazing. I love it. That is so fun. That is so K-drama. I would 100% watch it.
Right?
Yeah,
I would too.
I think what I really appreciated that you brought to it was the fact that the telepathic con artist worked for the dark sorcerer. I thought that was a nice touch. I'm ready. I need to know what's going to happen.
Super fun.
I would write the whole thing. So someone pay me and I will write this entire K-drama with Amy and Leah.
So do we have
any? Where are you? We're ready.
Do we have any title ideas from Megan?
No.
Here?
Oh, yeah. I need titles. That's the only thing I didn't do.
The Falcon and the Hawk.
Ooh, Falcon question mark Hawk question mark. We could do
maybe it'd just be Bird of Prey. That sounds like a weird K-drama.
That would be really good. Bird of Prey.
Or what about? Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, I got a dad joke here, but what about in Corginito?
Oh my god!
I know. I had a lot of fun writing that. So anyway, I hope
Bird of Prey though. I think there we go.
I think I'm gonna make a graphic for Instagram, and I think we should post the blurb and just have people read it. I just am curious if ever, I you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I absolutely think so too. We'll have to figure out like a way to like condense it. We've got to figure out a way to shorten some of it because I don't know if you can post that all on like our Instagram. So definitely do check our Instagram at Afternoona Delight Podcast on Instagram, and we are going to post, I think some graphics and like the whole blurb and talk about it because I love it. Who doesn't like a bad guy in hell? Knightley, who is like, God, I got to just kill that last heir who happens to be.
It's like, wait, Sisyphus, right? Isn't that?
Oh, there's actually a K-drama out right now called Sisyphus, not Sissy.
There is.
Sissyfoots. Yours could be called Sissyfoots.
It's Sisyphus, I said.
Sisyphus.
Okay, it's not sissy.
It's not sissy at all. It's Sisyphus.
Sisyphus.
I'm sorry. I even took Latin in school. I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe we'll have to leave out the water rescue on Instagram. I just really like the water rescue. That really felt
No, it's great. And we'll do this again. We'll do this in our next snack. We'll assign either Leah or I to do the same thing, and we're gonna keep playing this game.
Yeah, let us know if you like it because I think it's fun.
And email Netflix and tell them to pay us. No, I'm just kidding. Well, no, I'm not.
No,
serious.
You're not kidding.
Actually dead serious. If you want to watch Bird of Prey,
hashtag incognito. Incognito.
I mean, the hero, he definitely has like the corgi like in a backpack on his back.
I thought you were going to say that
he rides the corgi.
Wait, what?
I thought you were going to say he rides the corgi. I was like, oh my God, is he also like a leprechaun?
Definitely rides his motorcycle with his corgi on the back with little goggles. Like that.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. The corgi has goggles?
Oh, absolutely. The corgi
has
goggles.
God.
And a helmet. He's got to have a helmet.
Yes. Okay, Netflix.
And he clearly can dive under.
For fudge's sake, Netflix, we need this.
And this would be like the opening montage for the show, right? Like a little cartoon pictograph of like the corgi, like in the hero, like, driving around on their motorcycle.
And then like a
incognito.
A falcon hawk flying above.
Falcon hawk.
Maybe a falcon and a hawk mated. Maybe it's a fawk.
A fawk. It should fawk.
Fucking hell is what we would call it.
Oh my God. Fawking.
Fucking hell.
Or we could do fawking corgis.
Oh no. It's not that kind of drama. Oh my goodness. Okay, we need to wrap this up, you guys.
Well, thank you, Megan. That was a pleasure. My only sadness is I can't go click on watch it right now.
Your suggestions were very fun, so thank you.
So just really quickly, I guess, what's everyone watching before we say goodbye?
I'm watching My Love from the Star with Kim Soo-hyun as a 400-plus-year-old alien about to return home. And then, of course, meets his fated mate. So far, so good. I'm 3 episodes in, and I'm really enjoying it.
I'm watching Itaewon-Class, and I'm like a little over halfway. I really love it. It's very fascinating. There's definitely romance in it, but it's really an ensemble cast, and I love them all. I am bracing myself because I can like feel them setting up this like heartbreak, and I'm almost like not ready for it. So I said earlier today, I feel like I'm playing chicken with Itaewon-Class. Like, who's going to fold first? Like, it's going to be me. But like, who's going to fold and like keep going? Because I'm just like a little terrified of what it's going to do to me. These characters have just fought so hard, and I hope they keep fighting. But yeah, so I'm loving it. I'm just scared. That's all.
So I started Run On this morning. That's going to be an upcoming pod. And my daughter and I got through most of the first episode. I'm still recovering from When the Camellia Blooms. Last night I finished it and loved it. And we'll be talking about that soon. And I do have to out myself that apparently I've just accepted that I'm going like full cougar madness because I'm also watching now on Viki a show called Traveler, except it's Traveler 2. And it's basically, I can't even believe I'm going to admit it. It's, Kang Han Newell, who's the hero from When the Camellia Blooms, traveling through Argentina with like 2 friends, and kind of it's like a variety show, but they just have like some cameras and they're traveling. And I just am like, I guess I'm just gonna watch that now because I'm in this madness and need more of this.
If Kim Woo Bin is on that show, please let me know.
Yeah, I'm deep in this madness right now, and it just needs to happen. So sorry, everyone.
So the hero from When the Camellia Blooms is Kang Newell, right?
Yeah.
Is that how you say his name?
Kang Han-Newell.
And then
Kang Han Newell.
Oh, I mixed the things. Okay. And so I'm watching Itaewon-Class, which the hero is Park Seo-joon, and they are in Midnight Runners together. And So weird because I didn't even know, but it came up in my YouTube recommendation. I just watched a short clip and it looks hilarious. Honestly, I think we should watch it then because
let's buddy watch when you're done with Itaewon Class and we can like get like our fanning out because I think honestly, I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry, Gong Yu, but I think there's just like a new number one fave for me in town. I'm gonna even like say that might be where I'm headed.
Hey, I'm happy for you.
Yeah, Gong Yu will understand. He'll understand.
He's got plenty of fans.
He's got Amy.
Yeah, he will always have me. But I've got like 3 tops, in my pocket now that just sandwich me between them all. So
it's Kim Woo-bin, Lee Min-ho, and Gong Yu, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know me so well.
I'm still forming my tops. Ji Chang-wook is still at the top, but there's a lot coming on.
A lot bubbling. I know I can't help at this point. Like I'm trying not to get into like heavy thirst trapping, but like sometimes
why fight it? Like
I was thinking about this on my run today, and I was like, you know what? It's just the heart sometimes wants what the heart wants, and apparently I'm like, it's fine. I'm 10 years older than like this person I'm listening for, and that's totally fine. Like that's legit. Still, I'm not like it's not too bad. I can justify this to myself.
10 years? Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
All right. Absolutely. We're going to end there because it's more years for me. So we're done. We're done, everybody.
Kang Ha-nul, good job on your show because it was really good.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Yeah. And we will see you next time.
Annyeong.
Kamsahamnida. Thank you for listening to Afternoona Delight. Make sure to subscribe for more great K-romance conversation. And be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Afternoona Delight Podcast for more information on our podcast, behind-the-scenes photos, and, of course, pics of our favorite oppas and anis. Annyeong!